Imagine you cozy up in bed, finally able to relax after a long day of school. You just got a brand new copy of Mario Kart Wii for your birthday and you're excited to try it. So, you attempt to play the game. This is supposed to be fun, right? Everything seems pretty much normal at this point. You're taking in the new sounds and atmosphere as you get used to the Wii controls. You might not be winning the race, but you're having fun. Well, that's weird, but maybe it's just a glitch? I mean, your parents wouldn't get a hacked copy or anything like that, right? Yeah, the disc is probably just scratched, but it would take too much effort to get up and take it out, so you decide to keep playing. Stolen software? Like a pirated game? And what's with this creepy footage? Something about this makes you feel really uneasy, like you've done something irreversibly wrong. But why does it make you feel this way? What makes this anti-piracy screen scary? I know that Izzy's already covered this topic very well, however I've wanted to cover this subject for fun for a long time, so why not now? Make sure to follow my social media link below, and of course thanks for watching the video. Real anti-piracy screens are the best place to start. And speaking of Izzy's, it's thanks to their video that I'm able to reference these images that are very similar to the warped and much creepier fan-made versions that are on YouTube today. The first anti-piracy screen is from Donkey Kong Country 3. This screen is very ominous. I think that's the best word to describe it. The music may be dark, but it's still clearly cartoonish and has the same vibe as the rest of the game. However, that combined with the context that this screen popped up because you had an illegitimate copy of the game makes it much creepier. Not to mention the image in the background. It looks like the characters are in distress, and it almost seems like they're staring at some unseen evil that they're forced to face. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it a bit, but you can understand why this would be distressing to some. The vignette around the image also makes it feel like the characters are trapped, unable to escape from their impending doom. The next one we'll look at is from Super Mario All-Stars, and this is what it looks like. Although it doesn't have any music or unnerving imagery, something about this screen still gives off that ominous feeling. Maybe it's because it has a much darker and emptier visual than the game, and such a stark contrast throws the player off. Maybe it's because the music suddenly goes silent, immediately telling the player that something is seriously wrong before they read a word on the screen. The top sentence is also scary, especially as a kid seeing the sentence, "It is a serious crime to copy video games." Must have been terrifying. You'd probably think you were about to go to jail or something. Although not as creepy as the other one, this Mario All-Stars anti-piracy screen has plenty of unnerving material when you really think about it. For a final, more modern example, we'll check out Baldi's Basics anti-piracy screen. While this game is already supposed to be unnerving, we can pinpoint some commonalities between this screen and the older ones I've referenced before. First off, we have Baldi himself. Similarly to the Donkey Kong Country 3 screen, Baldi looks very distressed and is also facing off camera, likely towards some type of impending doom. Another similarity is how dark the screen is. That lack of vibrancy and color shows even a younger player that immediately something is very wrong, and that's a very unnerving and very primal feeling. The text is more lighthearted than text from the other games, being less accusatory and coming from the "I think this may be an error" angle. The final similarity, of course, is the darker tone of the music. So, based on these three real anti-piracy screens, we have a pretty good gauge of what makes these screens scary. 1. Ominous text. 2. Dark music or silence. 3. A dark screen. Pretty simple, but let's see exactly how these fan-made anti-piracy screens use these aspects. The first fan-made anti-piracy screen is for a TV show instead of a game, but there's a reason that I'm using this one.
Get all sweaty again.
More SpongeBob coming up. Stay down.
Your cable provider has been broadcasting Nickelodeon for an unauthorized period of time after the license had expired. You have been viewing pirated programs and have failed to contact the Federal Communications Commission. You are now subject to criminal persecution for copyright infringement. To avoid court proceeding, please send a cash envelope of $500 to the following address: 1515 Broadway, New York City, New York, 27505. We see a lot of similarities to the anti-piracy screens we've referenced before. The silence, the dark imagery, and the ominous text all culminate in a pretty unnerving experience. But I've been repeating myself. What else makes this particular anti-piracy screen unnerving? Well, the image in the background. An image which actually comes from a creepypasta. This creepypasta is titled SpongeBob Bootleg Episode and goes something like this. This image was taken from a split-second frame in a corrupted bootleg of the SpongeBob episode, Dumped. Other than the image, the rest of the video is composed of incomprehensible jumbles of colors, static, or just black screens. The audio seems to be a heavily distorted version of the audio from the original episode, with loud, droning buzzes occasionally interrupting it. The bootleg tape itself was found in December 2004 by a group of 5 teenagers from the city rummaging around in a trash can within an abandoned mental institution. Of these 5 individuals, 2 have committed, 1 has gone missing, 1 refuses to comment on the tape, and the last hastily agreed to give paranormal investigators a tape shortly after being interviewed about the disappearances of the other 3 persons. The current whereabouts of the tape are unknown, and many who stare at this image for a long enough period of time claim to see SpongeBob blink. Creepypasta are a huge influence for these fan-made anti-piracy screens, and as we go forward, you'll really be able to see what I mean. This anti-piracy screen is even more terrifying than the last one. It just looks so realistic, and listen to the ominous music. The scariest thing here is the thought that your system could forcibly disable itself entirely due to an anti-piracy measure. I can only imagine the pit that would form in one's stomach if they had to come to the realization that they would have to contact Nintendo to fix their system, knowing that they would know it was due to piracy. What then? Would they press charges? Is it better to throw away the system and get a new one? The unknown plays heavily in this one, and I love it. But on to my final pick. Sonic is a game where you run forward. You get from point A to point B as fast as you can, and that's about it. But what if you turn around at just the right time? In doing so, maybe you discover something at the beginning of the level. Something that only those with an illegitimate copy of the game are supposed to find. This is easily one of the most accurate fan-made screens that I've seen. The Sonic sprite looks sinister yet still kid-friendly. The text is the right amount of ominous and threatening, not going as far as to say, "We're gonna take your life," or something like that. And the music here is particularly unnerving. Something about how off the tone is really helps the atmosphere of this screen. However, there is more that ties back to the creepypasta roots I mentioned earlier. At this point, creepypasta has been done to death. I don't think anyone here needs an explanation of what creepypasta is, considering it's so popular. You can see a lot of creepypasta's influence in these anti-piracy screens. For example, the one I just previously referenced. The hollow eyes at the end are a common trope in many creepypasta. The text directly to the player seems like they're playing some type of cursed cartridge, like a game they got for free off eBay with a very mysterious sticker on it that had Sonic crudely written in marker. There are a lot of anti-piracy screens that fit the creepypasta model. Jump scares, sharp teeth, the game telling you someone's gonna get you, etc. But this final anti-piracy screen follows the creepypasta model in a way that seems the most genuine. Let me explain. The roots of video game pasta revolve around shock. For example, it might be a little unnerving if your Mario game music cut off, but it would be shocking if Mario violently jumped on a Goomba and left its corpse. This is why Sonic EXE exists, for example. Jump scares, blood, and scary text are shocking if they're in a non-horror game, especially one that's kid-friendly. When the background turns red and the normal looking Lakitu now has black eyes with red pupils, that's shocking. Even the cloud has sharp teeth. Mario presumably being killed by the Lakitu also fits this model. The game doesn't just feel like it's trying to stop pirates, it feels like it's cursed. Like this is some type of code that was put in by a deranged programmer. Maybe this was actually a prototype copy, not a beta, but a full version that was supposed to be released before they discovered the strange anti-piracy measures. See, it's pretty easy to make up a story around this gameplay that perfectly fits the creepypasta model. These added aspects, along with all the features I previously discussed, can truly make an anti-piracy screen scary.